Hello everyone, welcome to another podcast by OnRec, the official podcasting group of IIT Roorkee. Here, we delve into the Professor Startup series where we spotlight the successful startup stories led by the esteemed professors of our college. I am Shambhavi Jha and I would be your anchor for today. Here, we have a very special guest with us today, Professor Siddhartha Khare, who is our very own alumni. He is an assistant professor in the geomatics engineering section at the civil engineering department at IIT Roorkee. He did his masters in 2012 and PhD in 2017. During his PhD, he also worked as a visiting researcher in University of Würzburg, Germany, to carry out half of his research work in Germany. Before joining as a faculty at IIT Roorkee, he worked in Canada for 4 years as a postdoctoral scientist at McGill University and the University of Quebec. During this period, he also worked as an academic associate in Canada. Recently, he has been invited as a visiting professor at University of Quebec in Canada under Center for Forest Research Summer Professor Program to deliver a lecture on drone technology. After joining as a faculty in IIT Roorkee, he founded an Agri-Tech startup called Bhoomicam Private Limited. This startup is focusing on connecting Indian farmers with agri-drone spray and agri-tech industry. Primary goal is to take this company at a level where every farmer of India can take advantage of this modern technology without any hassle. So, hello sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for inviting me for this podcast series.
So, thank you, sir. Thank you. We are so glad to have you here, sir. We are really excited to delve into your story. So, sir, to begin things, you are an assistant professor in the geomatics section. You did your master's and your PhD from IIT Roorkee. Sir, I want to know what aspects of professorship interested you and what led you to ultimately pursue a career in teaching.
The teaching career basically I started quite late. Means I did my bachelor's in 2009 in electronics, and then did my master's and PhD. And then during the course of my this academic journey, I decided that I will pursue my career in the field of teaching. So then I got the opportunity to work in some universities in India, and then I thought like it's not enough to teach in that level of information in IITs. So I decided to go for a more in-depth research which need to be required in order to reach to become faculty in IIT. So I decided to move to Canada. So I did my postdoctoral there, and then I worked in McGill University, University of Quebec, and also in a company Habitat as academic associate. So during that period of time, I gained a lot of experience in terms of research, especially my research area, which I've been working like drone technology, satellite remote sensing application in forestry and agriculture domain. And then I got the opportunity to come back to India and join my alma mater as a professor here. So I grabbed this opportunity, and then I thought it's a great thing to be part of the ecosystem where we can teach the young talents of India, one of the brightest kids. So it's a great opportunity to transfer the knowledge, whatever I have learned over the period of these years, and then do something for the country. So that's what I've decided to come back to India.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So, sir, teaching is your passion
Yeah,
after you started
yeah.
teaching. Okay.
Not in the beginning when I was a student like you guys, but not now. I can say that. Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, coming to my next question, you are a professor. You know it involves dealing with students. You make the exam papers, conduct quizzes, conduct exams, grade them. Plus, you are the founder of Bhoomicam. So, sir, what made you to go through this drastic transition from the teaching profession to starting a startup?
So basically, in IITs, what is the best part that when you talk about the teaching, so what we do basically, we not only do teaching, but we also focus on the research part. We have master students, PhD students, and also the bachelor students. Sometimes they get involved in the research part. So in teaching, we can actually use our research methods and also the technology, whatever we are building here in IIT Roorkee, can also take into the classroom teaching programs. So when you talk about the startup thing, I worked in a company in Canada, and I worked with very renowned professor in McGill University. His name is Professor Andrew Gonzalez. So when I was working in his startup, so he was one of the co-founder of the company, and then I saw his working style. Like he was a professor in one of the topmost university. He was also the co-founder of that company, managing things. So I was very much like fond of him, of his working style, and I thought like if he can do it, why not I can do it in India. So I decided to uh, convert my research interest into the startup industry. So that's how I came up into this startup domain, and I think I don't find any problem into that, because whatever I'm doing in terms of research can be easily translated into the product. So that can be easily done with the help of the startup.
Okay. So this is the reason. So you are a professor as well as you are the founder. So my question is that being a professor is a very research-oriented job. It is totally related to the academic sphere, while the world of startup is risky, it's dynamic, it's very fast-paced. So it involves a change in attitude and a change in mindset. How did you do that?
So it's a very interesting question actually, because when I started this startup, I was not at all aware about the dynamics of the startup industry, because the reason is the startup, as you mentioned, it's a very fast-paced environment where things change quickly over the period of night, and as per the policies and the new ecosystem which is coming in India. So for me to jump into this ecosystem was not easy, and when I thought of like starting the startup, so I initially thought that what could be the possible ways of starting the startup. Now, because as you mentioned, I am doing the research, teaching all these things, so it requires a lot of efforts. Now, time management is the first part. The second thing is the in which domain I would like to the startup. So, since my research is more in the drone, satellite, remote sensing technologies, and agriculture and the forestry sector, so I thought of let's do something which can help me to translate this research into the product part.
Okay.
So when I talk about the startup, in a startup we talk about the end product, which should reach to the certain customers. And then when it comes to the research, we do the research, we publish paper, but sometimes that research may not be able to reach to the common people. So that's the reason I started the startup, and in terms of like adjustment of the fast-paced ecosystem, I'm still learning, and a lot of things which I need to learn in the coming years. But over the period of 1.5 year, which I realized that with the startup ecosystem, if you are able to join, you can connect with the young minds and the young people who are working in the startup ecosystem. And I have connected myself with a lot of young entrepreneurs. So I learned also a lot of things during this period of time. So this is what my like focus areas in startup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you got your research was in the drone technology, and from there you got the idea of this Agri-Tech startup. So now, can you walk us through the journey of when you started it, and basically the journey from its ideation to the actual founding of the company?
Okay, so when it comes to the ideation, because in IIT Roorkee we have like TIDES IIT Roorkee, and I have Divya Sampark.
Sampark.
Two incubators are here. So I approached TIDES regarding the idea that I would like to develop something related to the drones. So they supported my idea, and they said, okay, we can give you the very initial funding in the MIghty scholarship program, and then you can start working on your ideas. So in that particular scenario, I contacted with some of the students. So now your previous question that how did I come into the startup part? So when I was teaching to my students, uh, so I like informed this to my class that I'm starting a startup. If anybody is interested to join or to help me in this the product development, they can come and like be a part of this journey. So three students, I would like to take their name because they're really good. Om Animesh Mishra and Prikhar and Priyanshu.
Okay.
So they approached me, sir, we would like to do some internship with you. And in this process, we will also learn something new, because generally uh, it is a great way to learn something new, because you are doing something not which is not traditional. Because when you try to solve some problem which is ground related problem, then in that case you also learn during this process. So the students, they have shown quite an enthusiasm towards this. So then in that case, we collectively form some ideas, pitch that idea to IITs, and they have given us the mighty scholarship. So that's how our journey started.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have you started a startup here only. You have closely observed Tides Incubator, and I have Divya Sampark. So you have very closely viewed the IIT Roorkee startup ecosystem. So you would have observed some problems, or there would have been some areas of improvisation. So what do you think are the challenges that the students face, the young entrepreneurs face in the startup culture in IIT Roorkee?
So what I realized that in we have very like extraordinary students there, and what I realized, they are very much to take problems at their hand, and they are very smart to solve that problems. But still, in terms of ecosystem we talk about, we still have to work out a lot
Okay.
to convert or to basically motivate those students, so they don't go for the normal placements. They should also look into the possibilities of opening a startup or work in a already existing startup in IIT Roorkee. So I think we need to nurture that mindset also, which is very important, because I think IIT students, they are not just to do normal jobs, but they should create jobs. And I think through a startup ecosystem, if we can build a very strong ecosystem here in IIT Roorkee, we can lead this domain very easily, because we have very extraordinary students, very young and talented students are here. So I think this is what we have to work it out, and the faculties and the incubators, they should create more training programs for the students, or we should create more positive environment towards startup, and how to help those startups to basically build a big company, so that student can get faith in this ecosystem, which is currently missing. So out of like I say 100 students, 5 students are interested. But if we can convert those 95 students also into this, then imagine what a beautiful ecosystem, startup ecosystem that we can create here.
Yes.
So this is what I think we should work on it, and I'm trying to work on it. When I go to my class, I always talk about 5 to 10 minutes about the startups. And sometimes I give them a problem also. Like for example, prepare presentation about certain ideas, or what companies currently are doing in India, what like foreign companies are doing, so that they can give get ideas what basically happening in India and across the globe around that problem. Because sometimes classroom teaching may not be sufficient, but if you are able to show them the advantage of that classroom teaching into the real world problems through the startups, that is I think very important. And this is what I'm trying to do, and I encourage our faculties also to do this, and also the IIT fraternity to help students to think in the direction.
Okay. So, sir, I think most of us don't go for startups because, we already talked about it. It is risky. We don't know if it will be a success or a failure. All our efforts, everything will go into waste if it is not a success. So, how would you motivate students to pursue this entrepreneurship?
So first of all, the question that you asked is that if it will not get success, then it will go into waste.
Yeah.
So this is not the case.
So, most of us look for a
No.
stable job.
So because whatever you will learn when you open your startup, or whenever you do something new, you may not get success immediately, but you will learn a lot during that period of time. If you see all the big entrepreneurs, they have opened their startups, they failed in their startups, they again opened another company or startups, and they converted into unicorn. So because in India we have this ecosystem that okay, if you are into the IIT system, you have to get certain level of jobs, or you should place in that company. I think we have to break that mindset. And to break that mindset, we should not just focus on this part. Okay, if we open this startup, this will fail. Eventually you will know what will going to happen after 4 years. But if you do not even start, by the fear of like if something happen after 4 years, it will fail, or it will success. Until unless you will not try, you cannot. If it means if you not jump into the river, and if you don't swim, then obviously you will get drowned. But if you swim, then obviously there are chances that you will be saved. So my suggestion is that we should not only think about the failure part.
Failure part, yes.
We should think about the positive aspect, that how much you can learn over the period of 4 years if you are in a startup ecosystem. Maybe after working in a company, because you already gained that experience of 4 years, and if you join the company also, that is not a problem. But after working in the company and starting knowing that culture, that what is the MNC culture, how the people are working there, how to manage the entire ecosystem of the company, maybe you can use that previous knowledge and open the startup later on. So everything will be in the positive direction, everything will work out if we do not think that it will fail. If we think that we will learn something, then it will be definitely you will get success later on. In my case, just for example, I was not knowing in the very beginning that my startup will work. But I was having a faith that if I work hard, still I cannot say that we are very big company. We are still in the pre-revenue stage. But me and my team, we are working continuously round the clock, even on the holidays, so that we can achieve something in the coming future. This is what we are targeting. This is, I think you should also think.
Yes,
Everybody
sir.
around
Yes,
us.
sir.
Optimistic.
We need to change our mindset basically.
So you should be like optimistic, not pessimistic.
Yes. Okay. So, sir, now we'll dive into your startup. So, from where did you get the idea of Bhoomicam? It is a very unique idea. Agri drone spray. It's really unique. So, among many countless available options, why did you choose this one?
So, first of all, about this name Bhoomicam.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking of something doing for the agriculture sector. So, I thought of like coming up with some name where we can relate the agriculture sector with the technology. So, Bhumi means earth, and Cam means like camera or imaging sensors, which we generally use to basically carry out or to monitor the earth, and for different application like agriculture application, forestry application or something. So because my background is from the agriculture side, so for example, in terms of background, my family background, my grandfather was a farmer, and my father was a veterinary doctor, and he used to work a lot for the farming community. So since then I have a huge interest in that domain. But I thought of something like, can we use some technology to help the farmers of India? So the spray part, the Bhoomicam spray, basically this agri-drone spray service that we have started under this Bhoomicam is to utilize the potential of this new drone technology. And drones, we are well aware that it is one of the new technology which is coming up in India, because the Indian government is now focusing on this, that how to indigenously develop different type of drones in different sectors, like not only in agriculture sector but also in defense. We can develop something for the surveillance purpose, mapping purpose. So all those indigenous drones can be developed in India. So I think this is the right time to do something by using these type of new age technology drone for the agriculture sector. So we came up with this idea that how to utilize the potential of this agri drone spray service for the farmers.
Okay.
So that's how we developed this solution under this movement.
Okay. So, my next question is about the team, the people who are working in your company. Team building is one of the most important parts of a startup. You know, a bad team can lead to the complexities, delays in project, communication breakdown. So, what set of skills or experiences, backgrounds do you look for when you are hiring a person as your team member? What do you expect from them?
So for team in a startup, as you mentioned, it's very important aspect, because without team you cannot achieve anything. Even in anything, like even
Yeah.
as a professor, when we do research, we hire a lot of PhD students, master student. So building team is the key part of your success of any startup or any work whichever you're doing. So in that case, I feel I'm very much lucky, because in my team I have two best friends who are my batchmates, BTech batchmates. So they are now working in my company as an advisor.
Okay.
so they are helping me a lot. So we three initially thought that, like 10 years before, we thought of opening a company, but at that time we were not that much, courageous, or we should say that that was at that time the ecosystem was not there for the startups. So we decided to not to go in that direction. But after coming back to India, I started a company, the startup, and then I approached them. Can you please be part of it, and we can do something together. So they agreed upon it, and then we started developing the team around it. And then I mentioned my students also. They joined this journey. So slowly, slowly, we are building up a very, very good team. That the communication part, the product development part, managing part, now everything is well set up in my startup. But it took me around 1.5 year to create that team, and to create the trust among the team also, because as you mentioned, sometimes people think that the startup may fail. So your team member should also realize that this idea will work. So you have to generate that faith in your team members. And now my team members are very much faithful and looking forward that this idea will definitely work. So they are continuously working around the clock to make this idea successful. So for any startup, whosoever is going to start in IIT Roorkee, this is my suggestion. First, you should focus the idea part and your team part. The team building is very important. Right people can actually help you to grow your startup very quickly. But if you're not able to find those right people on your company, which may be the case of fail of the some of the startup, then I think this is the very important part that everybody should work. तो आपने देखा होगा कि generally what happens, one or two students, they work together on some ideas and they start the startup. And I think this is the beauty of this startup ecosystem, that one or two co-founders comes and they form a team and they trust each other and they start developing something. But it's also very important that you should also increase your team team size, because uh, generally everybody thinks that I will do everything. This should not be the case. If you really want to get successful, you should expand your team and give your other team members responsibility to that, so that they can help you in extending that your team. So that is what I am doing currently. So now we are like 6 students from IIT Roorkee. They are working full time in my company, and apart from that, two of my friends working as an advisor, and also some of my like other advisors are also there. So we take some expertise from those advisors time to time. So that's how we are developing this ecosystem here in our startup.
So you talked about how the team, it needs that the team has to have faith in your startup, only then they can work. They need to be optimistic, they need to be hardworking. But sir, keeping that team together, bringing that unity, and sometimes even putting pressure on them to complete the work, it requires a visionary leadership, and you must have been a good leader. That's why your startup is going in a very good direction. So sir, how do you what makes you a good leader, first of all? What do you think?
I don't know whether I'm a good leader or not, but I think I'm a good friend.
Okay.
What should I say? So for me, my team is my family, and in terms of leadership, I don't like give any instructions to them. I always ask questions from them, whether so for example, if I have some idea, I try to discuss with my team. So this is the idea. Can we do something in that direction? And then they also come up with some solutions from their side, apart from me.
Okay.
So I don't basically ask them to do the task. I motivate them to do the task. So leadership is very important in any like company, because should be one or two people who should be coming up with some great ideas, and then there must be a team who can convert your ideas into reality. So leadership must be there, but how you're driving your leadership, this is very important. For example, in my case, I like I mentioned, the team is not my like working under me. I think we are working together.
Together.
So this ecosystem that are helping me to actually growing my startup. So I don't know later on what will happen, but I think we should also create the leaders in your startup. only one leader cannot work. Two or three people, and then you help your, for example, my the students, if you talk about IIT Roorkee, they are already very visionary and very smart. And then if you put your efforts to make them a leader as well in their domains. For example, I give very huge responsibilities on the shoulders of my students sometimes. You have to lead this. So my idea is that I should not only basically take care of everything, they should also take care of some parts. I'm trying to create leaders also. Even though if they would like to do something later on, something in their other domains also, after if they would like don't want to continue my startup, wherever they may go, they should be the leader from their side. So this is what I'm trying to do in my startup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sir, my next question is, how do you think your startup has influenced the market and the society? Basically, in terms of community engagement, in terms of employment generation, how has it changed the market?
So what so overall idea of the Bhoomicam is basically to provide the services to the farmers. Now here with one of the services like Agri-Drone Spray service, what we are trying to do, we are trying to create an aggregator platform where small drone entrepreneurs or drone companies, they can come on board on this platform, and then we can reach out to small scale holding farmers, so that they can utilize the potential of the drone technology. So in terms of social aspect, if we say, because India is a country where like 60% people basically they are in the agriculture domain, and majority of agriculture domain people, they are small scale holding farmers. Now when you talk about the technology aspect, the technology, the digital technology, if you say, now it is reaching to every household. So now, when you talk about this drone is a very costly thing, because it costs like 6 to 10 lakhs nearly if you buy one drone. Okay, so government has launched a lot of different schemes. Under this scheme, the farmers can buy this drone under different subsidized program, and still to fly that drone you require certain sort of knowledge, because you need to have a license, pilot license, to fly that drone. Now, what we come up with a solution in Bhoomicam, that can we develop a solution where we can provide this complete end-to-end solution to the farmer, where he does not need to buy the drone or he does not need to fly the drone. We will take care of everything from our side. Farmer just need to order the service for the drone. And the advantage is that because once this platform will reach to the farmers, they don't need to worry about the technology part. They just need to worry about the spray part, that how to get the spray services from the Bhoomicam. So society, if we talk about the societal difference that we are trying to make, we are reaching to every household and reaching to every farmers through our this platform. And now recently the government of India, so the Prime Minister Modi, so what he has done, he has launched a Namo Drone Didi program on 11th March 2024. And then in that particular program, they have targeted that all the self-help group females, they must be equipped with drone pilot training program, and they would like to give 15,000 drones to those self-help groups across the India, females. So it's a first of its kind program where they are going to empower the women with the help of this drone technology, so they can use these drones to generate the revenue in their local villages. And now the Bhoomicam, where we are basically targeting the similar concept, where the small drone entrepreneurs can come on this platform and they can generate the revenues. So this is what we are going to help this program, or we can basically help all the self-help group females in the nearby regions of the Roorkee area. And then we would like to onboard them and try to create more job opportunity, not only for the males but also females, or for the females specifically who are working for self-help groups. So we would like to make changes to at the society level, at the ground level, by using this platform. Bhoomicam platform.
Okay. So my next question is about your business model. Every business requires a business model to function upon. So can you please briefly outline your business model, which may include managing your expenses, increasing your reach, optimizing your cost structure, etc.
So you want to open my business model to everyone?
So just a brief.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. So business model basically, here we are focusing on one important aspect, uh, that how this drone technology can reach to every farmer's land. Now when it comes to business thing, so what happens basically, before telling about the business part, I should tell about this drone part. Because the drone basically, generally what happens, when the person goes to the field with the manual spray or with other spraying method like we using tractors, so they waste lot of water, and they take lot of time also for the spraying in the field. And that particular chemical also, whenever the person doing it manually, it basically create a health hazard to that particular person. So, and this process take like 2 to 3 hours or more than that when you cover 1 acre of land. And it is very, it costs like approximately like 800 rupees or 600 rupees to that person. And this process is quite uneven. Like he does spray at this location, but it's not uniform. But with the help of drone, agri-drone spray, you can cover the 1 acre of land in just 5 to 7 minutes. So imagine the amount of time, money, and the water
Same.
we can save with the help of this technology. Now, when it comes to the business model of Bhoomicam, so what we are trying to do, we are onboarding the different drone entrepreneurs on this platform. So, for example, initially what we are going to do, because we have to generate the faith also in the nearby farmer community, so we are having our own drones, and then we're creating the kiosk at 50-meter radius. So, for example, if somebody from the some village, he would like to take the agri drone spray service, he can just go to our platform. We have created multilingual platform. So, if he would like to take the service in Hindi, they can take the service in Hindi or the language also, and they can select this. They can either directly book a call to us. The call will reach to our portal,
Total.
and then our concerned person will take the call and give the help. Okay, this is the duration of the spray season you would like to book for this particular type of crop. So we will get this information, or they can also book through the platform. Very simple thing we have developed in our application. We can scan it on the QR code and get the information, and then that fellow basically can so we will get the information about the location and the farmer requirement. So, for example, if I'm a farmer, so what happens generally, I have to plan the labor and the duration of the spray before starting of any crop season. And these days, the labor and everything arranging is very tough. And like I mentioned, other problems also. So by doing this, you can do the advanced booking for the spray services in your field by using this drone technology. And you don't need to worry about the flying part. You don't need to worry about the technology part and how to use this drone. The Bhoomicam will take care of this part. So the person will go with the help of drone to the respective location. He will cover the drone entire area by the drone spray, and then he will come back. So we will just charge the farmer for that particular service. That's it. So from that particular money, we will generate the revenue, and out of that, we will generate the profit. Now here, the person who is onboarding on platform, like I mentioned, the drone entrepreneur, or under this Namo Didi drone program, also the female entrepreneur, drone pilot, they can take the percentage of profit from this service. So in this way, not only we are getting profited, but also we are going to give the profit to the small drone entrepreneurs who are going to onboard on this platform. So in this way, we are creating the opportunities also for the people around us, so they can use this technology, and then they can get the booking through our platform, and also the way of generating the employment and revenue and profit with the help of this Bhoomicam platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, talking about revenue, we'd like to dig a little deep into the financial aspects of Bhoomicam. So, I would like to know the financial roadmap of Bhoomicam. From where did you take the funding? And you have to include the grants or all the investments.
Okay.
involved in this?
So I think the very first thing that the grant that we received from MIT scholarship from TITES IIT Roorkee.
Tides.
So they gave a very in the beginning 7 lakh rupees to us, and they actually told us that in this grant you develop the initial prototype. So we developed this prototype, and then I presented this idea in front of several like incubators, several grant agencies across the India. So I gave pitch to several people, and I'll tell you one thing: in the beginning, my pitch was very bad.
Okay.
I was not able to make good pitches. The pitch deck, making a pitch deck also is a great learning for me. Because in the beginning, I was thinking from the research or academician perspective. That's how we make the presentation. But later on, because this is a different game, you have to sell your product. So you have to basically help to understand the investor or the grant agency that this idea actually will work, and I want this much money from you. So in order to understand this entire chain of like getting the money from someone under this startup program, it is a great learning for me and for my students also. But now we have reached to certain level that we are able to get the grants from several agencies. So the second grant that we have received from the IBITF, it is IIT Bhilai I Hub incubation. So they have given us the research grant to develop and to scale up this model, and they gave us the funding of 76 lakh rupees. So I received this grant last year, and since then I'm using this money to develop this like entire uh, uh, platform, marketing, buying the drones, and all those things we are doing under this, and developing and building up our team as well. And recently we received another grant of rupees 10 lakh from SISF, that is under the government Startup India scheme. And now we are at the stage where we are also going to receive soon some foreign investment also from one Canadian company, Unisports. So we are also in conversation with them. Invest some convertible CCD format form of investment, like kind of angel investment they would like to do in our company. So we are in the process of discussion with them.
Okay. So, sir, about investors, what do you think, from your experiences, you would know, what do you think the potential investors look in for before investing? And how do you customize your pitch to align with the investors' interest and expectations?
So it's a very important question actually. Generally, what happens when a new startup comes, because in new startups can actually register themselves in DPIIT scheme. So when you register under this DPIIT scheme, you are registered under the Startup India program. So for the initial 2 years, you have opportunity to present your ideas in front of several incubators in several government-based granting like fund granting scheme. So and then you can take the opportunity to get the for example funding up to 20 lakh, which is completely a full grant. And then you can also go for 50 lakh rupees of SISF, like loan equity based funding. And then you can, when you talk about these, so this is some schemes are government based, like Nidhi Prayas, if it is more hardware technology related thing. But if you would like to go for the VC funding, if you talk about, which is the major like catch for any startup, then I think it is always little challenging, because in that case you have to reach to certain level to attract the VC funding. So for our case, so far we are not able to get the VC funding, and we are trying in that direction. Once we will like burn our existing funding resources, then and we will generate some revenue. Then we have a plan to reach out to the VCs as well in the future. But since I have not received any VC funding so far, so I think I'm not the right person to comment on this.
Okay. So, sir, talking about this investor thing only, sir, many times it happens with the entrepreneurs. Your interests and the investors' interests are totally different. Sometimes they're very contrasting. Like you are aiming for a lasting company, and the investor Just look for quick exit strategies. You are more of a risk-taking person, and the investor is looking for stability. So it happens many times. So how do you deal with these cases? Means you have to fulfill the investors' demands also, and you have to stay committed to your company's long-term vision and the goals also. So how do you do this?
So that's why so far we have not gone for this VC funding,
Okay.
because they have their own interest,
Mm-hmm.
like you mentioned. So then you have to sometimes change some of your objectives according to them, because they are looking for the exit scheme.
Okay.
So in that case, I think you are always under pressure. So we personally think that once we will generate some revenue from our side, then only we will approach them, because then it is good to approach VCs, because then we can align ourselves also according to their goals. So and the problem that currently we are facing, that because in India a lot of in fact in IIT Roorkee some VCs come, and they are not able to invest in faculty-led startup so far, because still we have to break this mindset that if the faculty is working in the startup, so faculties are not working full time, and VCs are looking for the startups who are having the face of the company. If it is running by the faculty, then that fellow should be working full time for the company. So that's why we are not able to attract the VC funding so far in our company.
Okay.
So we are still in conversation with a lot of VCs related to that. But in future, I think we will be overcome this problem.
Okay. So, sir, coming to my next question, you must have been to, apart from IIT Roorkee, you must have been to many institutions, to many colleges for pitching Bhoomicam in Startup Expo and funding events. Also, you have seen the startup culture in foreign countries like Canada and Italy. What difference do you think is there in the startup culture of IIT Roorkee and other institutions, in foreign institutions or other Indian institutions?
So I think in terms of ecosystem here in IIT Roorkee is uh, pretty much good, but still we are, I think, in the evolving phase.
Okay.
We have to learn a lot from some foreign universities or foreign startup ecosystem. But still in India now, the things are completely changing. So from 2004 to 2023, if you see, more than 16,000 tech companies have been registered as a startup in India, and the funding and the, like for example, growth of these startups are tremendous. So we should not say that we are different from the foreign countries. We are actually following the same path, in fact better than that, because a lot of opportunities are there in India. But yeah, we have to learn a lot from the foreign countries. Like for example, if I take the example of Canada or US, they were having this ecosystem long before, and the amount of funding the startups they raise, it's quite high compared to here. But still, if you have a very good idea, I think there is no cap here of funding as well. So I know a lot of startups or the companies who are getting very good funding, which is comparable to foreign countries. Because the best part is that in India we can solve lot of problems which are there in the market, in terms of like Agri-Tech domain or defense domain, or like in hardware component domain, or any domain. If you take health sector especially, we have plenty of challenges and plenty of opportunity in the startup ecosystem. If you talk about specifically in IIT Roorkee, I think a lot of startups are there, and the only thing is that we need more mentor, more feedback support, so that what mistakes we are currently doing, that can be rectified.
So, sir, you have been in this college since a long time. You completed your BTech in 2009 and you completed your Masters in 2012. How do you think the entrepreneurship scenario and the startup culture has changed in our college since then?
So I think the startup ecosystem has been changed a lot over the period of 15 years, and I can say that the Honorable Prime Minister is focusing a lot these days on the startup ecosystem in India. So I think 10 15 years down the line, it was not that easy to start a company and do things. And funding opportunities were also not there. But now if you see, a lot of funding opportunities are coming. And if you see, more than 16,000 tech companies have been registered under the Startup India scheme program. And the growth and the surge of all these startups are also tremendous. We are almost at par with the foreign companies. And new avenues in terms of, for example, agriculture sector, defense sector, and healthcare sector, and hardware sector. So all these sectors basically are getting a lot of attention, and a lot of grants and fundings, because of the support of the government. So I think the credit goes to the current government, that they have created this type of ecosystem. And lot of, because see, funding is the main part for any startup. And if funding is not there, then it is very difficult to go for a long run. And for that, I think kudos to our government. They have created this ecosystem so that a lot of funding opportunities are coming from foreign investment also. And and they are also creating the environment where the students and the youngsters can actually take the risk to open the startup. And I have seen lot of expos, startup expos are basically supported at various levels. And I have also personally attended several expos in Delhi. Recently there is a startup Mahakumbh also happened, which was addressed by the Honorable Prime Minister. So I think this is the important thing. When the you said about leadership in the beginning. So this is what they are trying to create in India. Try to implant things for youngsters' mind, so that their ideas are valuable, and they can convert their ideas into the reality in terms of product, and they can sell their product. And if you see, if you go 10 years before the timeline, if somebody asks to their parents, I would like to open a company or startup, you will not be appreciated that much. But if you somebody will say that I would like to become an entrepreneur and would like to open a startup, you will be appreciated a lot. Oh yes, because see, the culture, development of any culture or bringing a new ecosystem is always takes time. But now if you see, in every household, at least somebody is there to see do something new. And there are some schemes which are there to support those startup ecosystem. So I think this is what I like currently. And this actually motivates me also. And I also tell these students also that this is the right time to do something, in terms of opening a startup and do something for your country. Because we have a lot of problems, and we can solve those problems with your talented mind. So this is what I think. I believe that a lot of things have been changed over the period of 10 15 years. Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, my next question is, there's a saying in English, what a guess which can be measured, it can be managed. So, sir, you are a professor, you are the founder of a company, you are a researcher, and you have a personal life as an individual. How do you strike a balance among all this? I mean, on the surface, it
It's
sounds very hectic, like
yeah,
you're a
yeah,
busy
it's
person.
it's actually very important question. And I'll tell you one thing, that balancing a personal life and professional life is always a challenging part. And when you have several duties, then it is very important for you to take care of everything and making the right balance among all the responsibilities you have. So for example, in my case, I'm the father of a 2-year old daughter. And when I actually talk about the startup part, it takes a lot of energy from my side, and I have to give a lot of time also. So, and then you come talk about the research and the teaching. So again, it is also a full-time thing which I'm doing here. So balancing a professional life and the personal life, and then this fast-changing startup ecosystem is actually very difficult. And for me, it is possible only because of my family support. And my wife, she actually support me a lot in this process. And like she always says, you are following your passion, I am there to back you up. And because she's also a scientist and she understands that what I'm currently doing, so she helped me sometimes in discussing things. So we discuss a lot that this is what the idea I'm currently doing. I may not be able to give time at that particular time to family members, so she always say no problem, we will manage things, you do your own. So I think this is also important. And the third part, which is not there in your question, balancing the professional life and the personal life and the mental health.
Yes.
This is very important because when you are engaged in several things, because a lot of responsibilities are there on your shoulder, it is very important to maintain your not only physical but mental health as well. And for myself, I always take out extra time to do certain physical activities and mental activities, and I do long distance cycling to maintain my physical and mental health properly, and spend time with my daughter sometimes, so that it is always give you a different dimensions. So that's why I think it may not be like generalized for everyone, but what I always feel that one should always try to make a balance. If it is not possible, then try to take help and build a good team, because sometimes you cannot do everything all alone. So building a team, building a right ecosystem in the team, helping them when they need you, and then take the help when it is required from them to you, it is also important. So for me, so far I'm able to manage. I don't know what comes in the future, but I think this is always a challenging thing for everybody. Not as a professor, but I think startup requires a lot of work, because it's a very fast changing dynamics are there. So for example, when we talk about startup thing, suddenly some startup expo come, or suddenly some event come. If you're not ready well before, then you may miss that particular event. And if you miss that event, you may miss some investors. So you should be ready in advance. And for example, in my case, I'm also a professor. So there is a possibility that I will be having engagements in the teaching also at the same time. So that in that case, I will not be able to present in that particular event. But I have made my team ready so that they can represent on behalf of me if I'm not there. So balancing things in the company, balancing thing in the research domain, teaching work, and balancing thing at your home, you can only do it when you have some additional support from the family, from your team. Then only it is possible. So I think I will give credit to my team and my family for this. Yeah.
So, sir, like you do a lot of physical activities, you give family time also, then all this research, startups, and you have to prepare well in advance for the event. So, do you have a rigid schedule to which you stick to?
The only thing which I follow is sleep in the night
Oh, okay.
at the right time and wake up at the right time.
Okay.
And this is what I think missing in students here.
Yeah.
They always remain awake in the night time and sleep in the daytime.
Yes.
So I think, see, I think you learn with time all these things, how to manage things, because you do. I think consistency is the key. If you do it one day, follow it next day, and then follow it like every month and year, then I think it is become your habit, and you don't feel stressful for doing those things. So this is what we learn by doing only, and consistency. So I've been doing it from several years. So now it is a part of my life. If I don't do it, then I feel that something is missing.
Okay.
So I think this is what I always suggest to all the students also, because you guys have to work a lot in the future. So if you try to maintain your health, your like physical health, mental health, then I think it is always good for you to reach to certain level in the future also, because it is part of your everyday life. So then it will help you when you have a lot of work, because see, when you will reach to certain company, you will work in company, lot of stress comes, because workload is always there, deadlines are there, and if you don't have other things also to do, like for example, some physical activity or some any hobby which you have. If you're not pursuing those hobbies, then I think you will not be able to take extra time for your things. So try to like generate that habit in yourself, so that it will become a part of your life. This is what I always feel. Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, my next question is on how you manage your money, your earnings. So, sir, all of us have different needs. We have different priorities. The upbringing, the cultural values, the family background. It differs from person to person. So, I want to know your personal relationship with money.
So personal relationship, like I come from a very normal like family background in terms of like monetary support. So I have always been on scholarship for a long duration, and then fortunately I did not take money from my father from almost like more than 50 years now, 15 years. And in terms of managing the money part, so in company I think it is very important because how you are using each and every penny. So we have a very dedicated team, like my advisors. So we always discuss, like we have received this much funding, how to utilize this funding for particular resource. Because if you are not able to manage properly your money, then in that case, for example, if you receive 5 lakh rupees and you suddenly think we can use in this direction, then after 5 months you will realize, oh, I wasted those 5 lakh rupees. So I think it is always advisable to decide well before when you are applying for any grant. So if I will receive this grant or if I will receive this funding, how we are going to utilize and in which sector we are going to basically use this money for which purpose. If you're ready well advanced, then I think it is always, then you won't face any problem. But if you're not ready, then I think it is always a challenging case. So money management is always there in startup. And at personal front, I don't know how much I am good in this. I I am totally depending on my wife.
Okay.
So she manages things a lot. Yeah, I just work. Yeah.
So, sir, my last question about this startup. It's what are your future plans of the future plans you have planned in your mind for Bhoomicam, like its expansion, be it geographically or in terms of products and services, or entry into new markets, or any initiatives and milestones you have planned that you aim to achieve in the coming future.
So the very first thing that we are currently targeting is this agri-drone spray service, and we have a plan to basically cover the northern India first by using, so that our plan is if we can bring at least 5 to 10 lakh farmers on this platform, and then we can create several kiosks and also collaborate with several drone companies and drone entrepreneurs. So this is the very first target that we would like to achieve in the coming 6 months. And then we would like to expand to other parts of the country as well. And the second thing that the Bhoomicam, another service that we are trying to focus is the satellite-based crop health monitoring solutions to the farmers. So we would like to generate some climate-based and crop health-based advisories to the farmers, so they can take decisions right away on the field. So we are using very cutting-edge technology like AI and satellite-based data analytics, so that we can give some recommendations to the farmers. If you see, because of the current climate change scenarios and changing weather patterns across the globe and across the India also, you will see several disaster comes. It impacts overall the livelihood and the crop health conditions of the like in different sections of the country. So it directly affects the basically productivity of the crop, and affects the basically earning of the farmers. So we have a plan to launch this service as well, which is going to utilize the potential of AI and satellite based technology, so that we can give the right recommendations to the farmers. And then we have a plan to connect those things with the like credit score schemes, so that we can help farmers to get the better loan for their crop damage assessment, and then they can take the better advisories also by using this advanced analytics tools. So this is the additional thing that we will bring into the future in future. Once we will roll out this like agri drone service at like at least at northern India level. So my another domain which we are targeting, it is working. It is basically we are developing parallelly along with this. So these two major sectors we would like to target.
Okay. So, sir, now we have a small fun section. You are from IIT Roorkee only, so it's more related to your college life, your campus life, and your memories, be it as a professor and as a student. So, first thing, any professor any funny memory or a good memory with any professor when you were a student?
So funny memory is when I was a student, I was living in. I think I stayed in Jawahar Bhavan. So in Jawahar Bhavan, we have lot of funny stories. I don't want to tell here because everybody will follow that. Yeah, but as a student, I think you, from in my case, we always have fear from professor. So some like senior professors were there. I will not take their name, but we used to fear them a lot.
Okay.
And some of them are very strict in terms of like starting like class timings. If the class is at 9 o'clock, then you're supposed to be there at 9 o'clock. You cannot reach at 9:01. So in when we were in Jawahar Bhavan, so there are two ways of coming to the civil department. Either you come in normal way, which you follow from Jawahar Bhavan to like architecture department, then you come. But because we always do things at the very last moment, so we used to finish our breakfast at 8:50 or 8:55. So we were having only 5 minutes to reach to department. So sometimes we follow some those paths which are not recommended for the students to go to reach to the hostels. So these things we used to do. And I think from professor perspective, I think we had great memories. Like for example, one professor from mathematics department, he is also here, I think, and he's about to retire. So he used to teach optimization techniques, and we really admire him a lot, the way he used to teach in the classroom. But we used to have huge fear from him because of this like strictness. And like his paper was so tough that we were not even able to solve the tutorials itself.
Oh.
So and he has a very distinguished way of teaching in the classroom. Class of like 85 or 90 students were there. And like if you imagine being a student reaching to a classroom at 8 a.m. in the morning, it's a very challenging thing, because when you're a student, you're always awake in the night.
Yes.
And you and you awake just before the time of the class, and you have to reach to the class at 8 a.m. So I think for professor perspective, I think they were right, because they have to follow some strict guidelines. And from student perspective, I think we should enjoy in our hostels as much as we can, but we have to follow some protocols.
Okay.
This is also we have to remember, because we are part of the system. So I cannot tell many funny stories, but yeah, there are some stories we will discuss about this after the podcast.
Okay. So, your favorite canteen?
My favorite canteen is Azad Bhavan canteen.
Azad Bhavan canteen. Okay. And sir, how was the ragging scenario in your times?
No, there was no ragging.
No ragging. Okay.
We used to interact with seniors, but it was really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And any good memory, funny memory as a professor with any student?
So funny memory is in civil department, specifically in geomatics, we have one subject. It's called geomatics engineering 2 and 1. So in second, like in autumn semester, we take them to the survey camp. So last year I was the like in charge of that survey camp. So I had the opportunity to take those 180 students to the survey camp in near to Chandigarh area. And then it was a great experience for me, because I spent my 15 days, because we travel from here to Haridwar every day. So in the morning, early morning, 6 o'clock, we have to leave, and then we come back at 8 p.m. approximately. So going there and coming back, and then arranging food and everything for those students in the Chandigarh area, and then giving them experience of doing the surveying and that by using modern instruments, it was a great experience for me. But when the survey camp ended, so I asked the students to perform there. So one student came and he did the mimicry and several things about professors. So one student told that I have never seen Professor Khare smiling during the class during the survey camp. And then he asked me, sir, can you do some dance steps with us? So we and other professors, and we did dance with them and then make
Okay.
them ease. So that was the some good memories with us. And now we are also going to take some students for the one industry tour to Nainital. So I think we will have fun with students. Yeah.
So, sir, this brings us to the end of our conversation. Thank you so much for being with us here today and giving your precious time. We definitely gained a lot of good insights and you shared really good memories with us.
Thank you so much for such a nice initiative. I should say, because this will actually not motivate only professors but also the students. So it's a great initiative,
Yes.
and I wish you all the best that your podcast will be successful. And I hope people will also learn from my podcast, and I will also look forward to listen other podcasts as well, because
Definitely, sir.
it's a great initiative from your team members and from the IIT Roorkee fraternity. And I wish you all the best for that.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for inviting me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.